One Question is brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996.
Yeah, I think Matt, one of the keys is understanding what kind of leader you are, and I think for all of us, we're always trying to improve that, to learn and continue to learn, and always kind of critique ourselves and how we lead. But I think it is a key to understanding what your strengths are, and so for me, it's always been about people and relationships, and so I think from a leadership standpoint, the key for me early on is just building that. And so, for example, here at Troy, I spent first 3 weeks off and on visiting with basically every staff member here, every head coach, every director, just to get an opportunity to understand who they were and what was important to them, and give me some history of what their experience at Troy had been. So, so I think that's important. So for me, it's really about people and relationships and developing a culture of family, really. And so from a leadership standpoint, that's what's been important to me early on. And then I think too, being able to establish some key things early that you want to try to tackle. For us coming in here, we had 3 or 4 things that we really wanted to focus on. One was cost of attendance. I'm happy to say we'll be implementing that this spring. That'll start for us this spring. And so we were able to make that happen over a short 3 or 4 month period. We got a big project, football, about a $20 million football project, football building that's going to be going up here, breaking ground in the spring. And that was a big piece. And so we've gotten to the finish line there, or 95% of the way to the finish line. And, so those were a couple of big early wins, I think, just to set the tone, and that helped us. And I think the other thing we're doing right now is just on that same note, we're starting the process of developing a strategic plan. And so for me coming in, that was one thing that really was important to me was about, visiting with our people who are important, our constituency groups, and trying to understand how they felt, how they viewed us as a department and what we were doing as a department here at Troy. And then so taking that information and developing that into a strategic plan as quickly as we could was important to me. And so we're in the middle of that process right now. We'll probably have that done by the end of the spring and be able to share that, with our fans, with our constituencies and constituent groups, and really kind of lay out a roadmap for where we want to go. So I think combination of, for me early on as a leader, again, establishing those relationships, and then, focusing on those few key things that we wanted to try to knock out early. That's a great point. I think we do have to understand who you are. I think we all have our strengths and weaknesses just from a personality standpoint. I think it's important as leaders that we understand that we surround ourselves with staff members and people who can help us with our weaknesses and empower those people to help us. And I think all that's important, but we're all trying to evolve. We're all trying to be better leaders. We're all trying to strengthen the areas where we're weak. And, I think that would go for anyone in this position. And so I think it's a constant evolution as a leader, but I think the core of who you are is always going to be there. I'm where I'm at in my career and in life, I'm not going to do a 180 and be a completely different type of person. And so I think understanding who you are to the core is important. What got you to that point? And, I know for me, that's a strength. I think, my background and my history, coming up through athletics it helped shape me, and that's important to me as a leader. And so yeah, I think it's important to understand who you are, to be able to focus on those strengths on a daily basis, but to continue to evolve. I think, as we evolve as leaders, a big part of that is getting outside of our comfort zone. And we all have those days and those moments and those things that we're just not crazy about doing, but we push ourselves kind of off that cliff or over the ledge and jump out there and get it done. And I think that's part of evolving. So it's an ongoing process. I think, again, we focus on our strengths. We try to line ourselves up staff-wise with people who are going to complement us, and then you just continue to try to grow.
And that's today's One Question, brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996. One Question is designed to give D1 Ticker subscribers valuable insights on how executive leaders in college athletics think about key issues on their respective campuses, in their departments, or within their leagues and conferences. One Question is brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996.